Alright, so we're talking episode 8, The Last Jedi during Star Wars week. Could it live up to the hype? Let's find out. Hey guys, welcome to another edition. I'm Rick. This is the show where we talk about movies and TV, and we bring back a lot of the older stuff that you may not have seen before. Some of you OGs like me, you've been around for a lot of this, but you may not have seen it in a while. I'm bringing it to you again. Today and all this week, we're doing Star Wars week, and we are on episode 8, The Last Jedi. And this pretty much started the great divide, as I like to call it, when it comes to Star Wars fans. Let's find out why. Alright, let's talk about Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi. The Last Jedi came out in 2017, and it's the 8th installment of the Skywalker saga. And it's the direct sequel to The Force Awakens, which had came out in 2015. The cast includes Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher, Adam Driver, Daisy Ridley, John Boyega, and Oscar Isaac. There's a couple things going on in this movie. The main plot follows Rey as she seeks the aid of Luke Skywalker in hopes of turning the tide for the Resistance in the fight against Kylo Ren and the First Order, while Leia Organa, Finn, and Poe attempt to escape the First Order. And the film features a posthumous performance by Fisher, who died in December of 2016. Matter of fact, the film is dedicated to her. On the surface, all of this that I mentioned is great. I'll get to where it falls apart for me, but first I want to talk about a few things that I do like about it. Alright, now the film was directed by Rian Johnson, and it was written by Rian Johnson, based on those same characters created by George Lucas, and it has a runtime of 152 minutes. The budget for the movie was somewhere between 200 and 317 million, and just like its predecessor, it more than made up for it at the box office, turned a nice profit. It brung in 1.33 billion. The movie's very divisive, and I'm going to tell you why. As far as that overall plot that I gave you, on the surface, it does sound great. It could work, but it doesn't on a few levels. The interaction between Luke and Rey and his reluctance, I really think that Johnson could have directed that so much better, because a lot of the things that Luke said or did, those of us who've watched Star Wars for many years, we know Luke wouldn't do or say. They didn't give us a really good enough reason for him to be that way. And I think that really hurt. Take nothing away from Mark Hamill. For what he did with that role, he deserved a serious Oscar nomination. At many points, I was thinking that any second, Luke would change his mind or do something differently, which he did at the very end, but it wasn't what I expected. And I guess that sums up what Rian Johnson did and what he's about as a director. He purposely subverts all expectations. Anytime you're going to the left, he swings you back to the right. I could deal with that. I could even deal with the remaining members of the Resistance on the run in space, even though that kind of played like the entire plot of Battlestar Galactica. I could deal with that. The low for me was the Canto Bight theme, the casino planet. That dragged on a little bit too much for me. I didn't like it. I didn't like the heavy-handed message, and I didn't like the fact, don't get me wrong, I liked the character Rose. She added something to the subplot, but I don't like all the extra stuff that came with it. She makes a great companion on the mission, but she didn't need to become an instant love interest. In the end, when this movie wrapped up, unfortunately now we have more questions than answers. As a matter of fact, the previous setup from the prior movie didn't get a lot of its questions answered. Things got neatly swept under the rug or moved out of the way completely. Again, great movie, wildly entertaining, great standalone movie. But as a Star Wars movie as a whole, it threw me off. It didn't seem to work next to The Force Awakens. Just like all the other Star Wars movies, this is available on DVD, Blu-ray, 4K, and available for streaming on Disney+. In closing, I'm gonna score this a 3. Still a respectable score, and it's a 3 because of its entertainment value. It could have been so much higher, again, going back to Disney not having a plan. When Rian Johnson took the reins, he was supposed to either answer those questions that were created in The Force Awakens or push us further along knowing that we're going towards those answers instead of sweeping them under the rug and moving them out the way. And I think that's what hurt this franchise. That's what divided the fan base. And our only hopes would be in episode 9 getting all that back. But that's another story for another time. Alright, so once again, it's Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi. And yes, it did create a big divide amongst the fan base. And not gonna lie, it is very polarizing. There are several things that I would have did different, several directions I would have went with. It's common knowledge that Lucasfilm didn't have a good plan when they went into it. However, does that mean that it was a bad movie? No, it wasn't a bad movie. It wasn't even a bad episode in the franchise as far as I'm concerned, because I like Star Wars, I see it for what it is, and just like any movie, it had its fair share of problems. Again, I would have done things a lot differently. We do have to realize that it's not our movie. The studio's in charge, for better or for worse. I wish they would have come together and made it a lot more cohesive, because unfortunately, that caused problems for the next film, as we will see. Remember, it is Star Wars week. I got more for you. Leave me a comment. Let me know if you like this movie or not, and what you didn't like about it, if you didn't like it, and tell me what your favorite Star Wars movie is. Alright, that's all the time I have for you today. But again, Star Wars week, so I got more coming for you. Stay positive, stay blessed. I'll see you again soon.